Okay, hi. Course in Miracles, Chapter 8, called The Journey Back. This is Section 4, The Gift of Freedom. If God's will for you is complete peace and joy, unless you experience only this, you must be refusing to acknowledge His will. His will does not vacillate, being changeless forever. When you are not at peace, it can only be because you do not believe you are in Him. Yet He is all in all. His peace is complete, and you must be included in it. His laws govern you because they govern everything. You cannot exempt yourself from His laws, although you can disobey them. Yet if you do, and only if you do, you will feel lonely and helpless because you are denying yourself everything. I am come as a light into a world that does deny itself everything. It does this simply by dissociating itself from everything. It is therefore an illusion of isolation maintained by fear of the same loneliness that is its illusion. I said that I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. That is why I am the light of the world. If I am with you in the loneliness of the world, the loneliness is gone. You cannot maintain the illusion of loneliness if you are not alone. My purpose then is still to overcome the world. I do not attack it, but my light must dispel it because of what it is. Light does not attack darkness, but it does shine it away. If my light goes with you everywhere, you shine it away with me. The light becomes ours, and you cannot abide in darkness any more than darkness can abide wherever you go. The remembrance of me is the remembrance of yourself and of Him who sent me to you. You were in darkness until God's will was done completely by any part of the sonship. When this was done, it was perfectly accomplished by all. How else could it be perfectly accomplished? My mission was simply to unite the will of the sonship with the will of the Father by being aware of the Father's will myself. This is the awareness I came to give you, and your problem in accepting it is the problem of this world. Dispelling it is salvation, and in this sense I am the salvation of the world. The world must therefore despise and reject me, because the world is the belief that love is impossible. If you will accept the fact that I am with you, you are denying the world and accepting God. My will is His, and your decision to hear me is the decision to hear His voice and abide in His will. As God sent me to you, so will I send you to others, and I will go to them with you, so we can teach them peace and union. Do you not think the world needs peace as much as you do? Do you not want to give it to the world as much as you want to receive it? For unless you do, you will not receive it. If you want to have it of me, you must give it. Healing does not come from anyone else. You must accept guidance from within. The guidance must be what you want, or it will be meaningless to you. That is why healing is a collaborative venture. I can tell you what to do, but you must collaborate by believing that I know what you should do. Only then will your mind choose to follow me. Without this choice, you could not be healed, because you would have decided against healing, and this rejection of my decision for you makes healing impossible. Healing reflects our joint will. This is obvious when you consider what healing is for. Healing is the way in which the separation is overcome. Separation is overcome by union. It cannot be overcome by separating. The decision to unite must be unequivocal, or the mind itself is divided and not whole. Your mind is the means by which you determine your own condition, because mind is the mechanism of decision. It is the power by which you separate or join, and experience pain or joy accordingly. My decision cannot overcome yours, because yours is as powerful as mine. If it were not so, the sons of God would be unequal. All things are possible through our joint decision, but mine alone cannot help you. Your will is as free as mine, and God Himself would not go against it. I cannot will what God does not will. I can offer my strength to make yours invincible, but I cannot oppose your decision without competing with it and therefore violating God's will for you. Nothing God created can oppose your decision, as nothing God created can oppose his will. God gave your will its power, which I can only acknowledge in honor of his. If you want to be like me, I will help you, knowing that we are alike. If you want to be different, I will wait until you change your mind. I can teach you, but only you can choose to listen to my teaching. How else can it be if God's kingdom is freedom? Freedom cannot be learned by tyranny of any kind, and the perfect equality of all God's sons cannot be recognized through the dominion of one mind over another. God's sons are equal in will, all being the will of their Father. This is the only lesson I came to teach. If your will were not mine, it would not be our Father's. This would mean you have imprisoned yours and have not let it be free. Of yourself you can do nothing, because of yourself you are nothing. I am nothing without the Father, and you are nothing without me, because by denying the Father you deny yourself. I will always remember you, and in my remembrance of you lies your remembrance of yourself. In our remembrance of each other lies our remembrance of God. And in this remembrance lies your freedom, because your freedom is in him. Join then with me in praise of him and you whom he created. This is our gift of gratitude to him, which he will share with all his creations, to whom he gives equally whatever is acceptable to him. Because it is acceptable to him, it is a gift of freedom, which is his will for all his sons. By offering freedom, you will be free. Freedom is the only gift you can offer to God's sons, being an acknowledgement of what they are and what he is. Freedom is creation because it is love. Whom you seek to imprison, you do not love. Therefore, when you seek to imprison anyone, including yourself, you do not love him and you cannot identify with him. When you imprison yourself, you are losing sight of your true identification with me and with the Father. Your identification is with the Father and with the Son. It cannot be with one and not the other. If you are part of one, you must be part of the other, because they are one. The Holy Trinity is holy because it is one. If you exclude yourself from this union, you are perceiving the Holy Trinity as separated. You must be included in it because it is everything. Unless you take your place in it and fulfill your function as part of it, the Holy Spirit is as bereft as you are. No part of it can be imprisoned if its truth is to be known. Okay, a lot in here. This section is particularly packed with some great phrases and some things that we need to talk about. So let's talk. This section is called the gift of freedom. And later in the passage, Jesus basically says, freedom is not any different from love. Freedom is creation because it is love. We are only really free, as we said before, to do God's will, which is what we are. We are love. God's will is love, and love is what we are. So creation and love and freedom are all the same thing. It all goes back to love. Love is the word that we all look at as the highest, and love. So we can really just say the love of God, the love which is God, which is us. We are no different. And keep in mind that all these words are just words. They're symbols. They symbolize something for all of us. Maybe some ideas of what they are might get in the way here, and that's why we need to even unlearn the way we think about things. Like when we hear the word love, we might think, love between myself and my partner, or myself and my sibling, or my mother, my father, love between me and my pet. But we're talking about love in the highest sense here. The love that goes beyond this world, that goes beyond the mind, that goes beyond all concepts. It's unspeakable, unfathomable, really. We can't grasp it with the mind. We can't talk about it. So that's why we really need to understand that the words can get in the way here, and we want to focus not on the words so much, but as the deeper meaning of it. God's will does not vacillate, and Jesus is wanting to get us to get to the place where we do not vacillate either. As long as we vacillate, we imprison our own will, and we keep ourselves locked out of the kingdom, which is what we are. And we do not experience the peace and the joy that is what we are. So, I am come as light into the world. So Jesus is quoting from John's Gospel here. I'm come as a light into a world that does deny itself everything. I said that I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. That's also from John's Gospel. That is why I'm the light of the world. But then Jesus says, if my light goes with you everywhere, you shine it with me. You shine it away with me. So we shine the darkness away with Jesus. We are also the light of the world. And that's one of the workbook lessons. I am the light of the world. How can you say I am the light of the world if Jesus is the light of the world? Can't there could only be one light of the world, right? No, Jesus is saying that when you hear and trust and believe what Jesus is saying, and you take it to heart, and you go on this journey that he also went on, because he was once just like us, then you become like Jesus. You remember. It's not like you become Jesus. You are already Jesus. You've just forgotten, and he's helping you to remember what you already are. And it doesn't have to be Jesus either. You are the embodiment of love. You are love itself, even beyond the body. But Jesus is saying you can experience that here, even here in this world. But you must go beyond the world to experience that. You have to, what does he say about the world here? He says, I am with you in the loneliness of the world. If I am with you in the loneliness of the world, the loneliness is gone. My purpose then is to overcome the world. I do not attack it. Jesus does not attack the world. Later he says, freedom cannot be learned by tyranny of any kind. And the perfect equality of all God's sons cannot be recognized through the dominion of one mind over another. He's trying to tell us that he cannot force us, and he will not force us. He says, if you want to be like me, then let's see, what does he say exactly? If you want to be like me, I will help you, knowing that we are alike. If you want to be different, I will wait until you change your mind. Which means Jesus is not going to force us, because to force anything is against what God is. God does not force. God does not even see a problem. If we don't decide with Jesus that that's what we want, there's no problem. Jesus has infinite patience. God is infinitely patient, and God does not even need to be patient, because there's no problem in God's mind, and that would mean that there's no problem in Jesus' mind either. Let's bring in something else here, which is very fascinating. You were in darkness until God's will was done completely by any part of the sonship. When this was done, it was perfectly accomplished by all. So again, Jesus is saying, when one person does it, like Jesus already did it, okay? Jesus accepted the atonement, and he went all the way back home. When he did it, it's the same, everyone did it when he did it. All you need is one, because there is only one. It's a paradox. We cannot understand this with our conceptual mind. On some level, we do understand it, but from where we are right now, it's like a mind bender. And so much of this is mind bending. Like, that's why when you read it, you're kind of like scratching your head. What is going on here? But it's meant to be that way. It's because reality goes beyond the linear rational mind the ego mind that thinks in terms of past, present, future, and cannot see beyond that. Cannot see a reality, understand a reality which is beyond the linear. The world must therefore despise and reject me, because the world is the belief that love is impossible. This is also John's gospel. Jesus was despised and rejected, and he's still despised and rejected. And we all, on some level, until we fully accept what Jesus is saying, we despise and reject him, because he's trying to tell us something we don't want to hear, which is that we're not here, and that we are, our reality is not in this world and not in our body and our ego personality. And that is something that is very, 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 very difficult to hear and very, very difficult to accept. Not impossible. The world is the belief that love is impossible. But Jesus is saying, no, it is possible. And I am here to show you that it is possible. I am living proof. This course is living proof. But again, it's still up to us to accept it. And he says, healing is a collaborative venture. I can tell you what to do, but you must collaborate by believing that I know what you should do. So you have to trust. You have to be willing to trust that Jesus knows what he's talking about here. And if you don't, and even if you waver on that even a little bit, you don't fully accept what he's saying. And that's one of the hardest parts about this course, is that it really is ultimately uncompromising. Like you got to accept all of it. If you don't accept all of it, you don't accept any part of it. That's why, it's all like holographic. That's why if one person goes all the way, wakes up completely, everyone does. If you reject any part of this, you reject all of it. So we are, in rejecting Jesus, we are really rejecting love. We're rejecting our true self. We are fighting against an illusion, which, we're fighting a losing battle. Jesus is trying to tell us that. It's still very hard to accept. Intellectually, we can know things, we can agree, we can assent, we can say, okay, yeah, I could see that. But when push comes to shove, what happens to love? And love always, not always, but usually gets kicked out. We can see how we show up in that regard on a moment-to-moment basis. How often we we kick love to the curb, under the bus, or whatever you want to call it, sweep it under the rug. Don't want to, let's forget about love, and let's just, do whatever we want. So anyway, there's a lot here. I don't want to keep going. I think we covered some good ground there. This is a long video, and next section is the undivided will of the sonship. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to leave a comment, reach out, and we'll see you soon.